Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. So, this is a follow-up class to the special event we had last Sunday morning where we connected the three-eyed atlas as it passed, um, as it was about to pass near Mars. Um, those kind of connection we've done before, but not for a comet or a cosmic body. We have done connection like this for storms. It's a kind of a group Merkabah experience where we each create our own torsion field, or collectively create torsion field, and we overlap the torsion field over each other. And as we do this, we travel after saying the Ho'oponopono to Earth-related forces, because we've done it for hurricanes, wildfires, storms, event that had the potential to become catastrophic. And we allow the sentient force or the Devic force and the earth angelic force that are creating, that are manifesting as those specific things, we wait for them to give us a permission for us to blend with them. And when we can merge, we go in and we present to them the awareness that there are people on their way. There could be danger for human lives and human goods and so on and so forth. And if they can do whatever they have to do, because they are much more knowledgeable than us, to take that into account in the course of fulfilling their purpose. Now, I have to tell you, this reminds me of a story I read a long time ago. It's about the group of people of Rinpoche that accompanied the Dalai Lama when the Dalai Lama escaped from Tibet into Nepal, into India rather. Part of it is that the China invaded Tibet as a separate, claiming that it was their ancestral stuff. They invaded it. The night they were coming in, there was a gigantic snowstorm that stalled the army and gave the entourage of the Dalai Lama enough time to travel into India. Somebody later on had asked the entourage, the Rinpoches, if it is rumored that they can control the weather. And the way the Dalai Lama, the Rinpoche responded, it wasn't Dalai Lama, it was the Rinpoche, and he said, "We cannot control the weather, but we know how to speak to local gods, which are the earth angel that control these kind of phenomena. Since everything is alive, everything has consciousness. If you put yourself in the right state, you can communicate with that consciousness." And this is the same thing we did last Sunday when we blended. I had asked all of you who were going to participate to say the Ho'oponopono to all the celestial forces, even to God, to the solar system, to the earth, to the devas, to all of the extraterrestrial ascended beings, to all. We ask for forgiveness for everything and everyone. And as you are, because these forces, when you do those kind of connections, these forces can detect the deceit and secret agenda in a jiffy. You cannot lie to them. They will see right through your heart. This is the reason why when we do these connections, we do it on behalf, let's say the storm is coming from Florida going north into the East Coast. We do it on behalf of 60 million people who are on their path to remind these gigantic, enormous storms that there are people in the way. And guess what? In all occasions we've done this, everybody had the same experience. The storm are not even aware they are individuals in the path because we are disconnected to our heart. They are aware of the trees, They're aware of the animal, but they are not aware of us. This is why you have to be neutral before you make this connection. I remember years ago, it was Hurricane Sandy that was coming in, and I saw groups on mass media that were saying, let's do a Reiki group and let's cast this storm out of the way. The hubris of simple human being to think that they are Gandalf on the bridge of Khazad-dûm that's going to say to a gigantic storm like this, that you shall not pass. This is not the way the communication goes with these forces. They are sentient and they are much more powerful and much more knowledgeable than you are. You humble yourself, you ask, you beseech, you plead, and ask them for permission for blending. And you don't do it alone. That's the other thing as well. We did it together as a collective. And you beseech them and you plead with them. And as you do this, you beg and you ask for help. Then you begin to say what it is that's in your heart to say in your prayer. And it has to be sincere, it has to be real. And when you say it, they respond. Because when it's coming from the heart, they will respond from the heart. Now, this is the first time I've tried to do this with extraterrestrial celestial bodies in our former solar system. I had never done this with, I've done it with Earth-related stuff, but I've never done it with, if you all remember, we did do a connection for the Mighty I Am presence when we were upstate one time around when we did the fire ceremony. I will get back into that in a second. But I have never done this with an actual asteroid which look and behave in manners that are extremely unusual. Now, in the WhatsApp group, there was a short video, I think I put it 2 days ago, from Avi Loeb. Avi Loeb is a Harvard astrophysicist and Israeli in origin, and is the director of the Galileo project. And he wrote several papers about the anomalous behavior of this particular comet. And the latest video, initially, let me explain to you what happened when it passed Mars. Because of the government shutdown, there are multiple Mars orbiters, telescopes, who are focused on Mars that were guided and redirected to look at this object. NASA has a few, the European Space Agency has one, and they took data. The data was taken, but the data, the people who interpret the data have been fired. And there is no way because of the shutdown, to distribute that information to the rest. It would have been done in 48 hours at the most. All that information, everyone would have it. Right now, we don't have it. But Avi Loeb got data from the European Space Agency, and he was able to confirm what we already knew, which is this is massive object, and the object is behaving in strange manner. Most comets have a long tail from the back, which is frozen ice that's melting and creating a plume in the tail. This object, the light, the luminous part is coming from the front. Okay, so it's leaving Mars and going toward the sun, but it's actually the light is mostly being emitted from the front. So whatever fuel that it's using, the fuel is being ejected from the front, which is counter to what normal physics would happen. It would have to come from the back to push you forward, to propel you forward. That's the first thing. The other thing that's very unusual is that the trajectory was confirmed. That this thing, the chances of a normal comet to do this is 0.06%, which is that it is bypassing all of the planet in the solar system, as if it's a probe going in reconnaissance, deliberate reconnaissance around all of the planet, and it's self-propelled. It's creating its own energy as it's doing this because it doesn't fall into the gravitational pull of anything. So it appears that there is some design or intent or intelligence that's allowing it to do this, because it's going to now go around the sun and be directly opposite to the sun on October 29th. And on October 29th, I will do a connection, another class, another group event. And then it's going to turn and go close to the Earth. Now the timeline has changed. They're saying December 19 because it's changing speed. That's the other thing about it as well. Now, when it comes back from the sun, because the sun is going to emit a lot of heat, and the sun may accelerate and may become like a slingshot to propel it. It may move even faster. They're saying December 19 will come as close as it can be to the Earth. So, which means at this point, we will take more data. Hubble and all the telescopes we have that are in space near Earth will again take more pictures and data, infrared, all kinds of data will be gathered to figure out what this thing is. And then it's going to pass Jupiter as well. And we have other orbiters and other telescopes at Jupiter, around Jupiter, and NASA will probably direct them at the moment to also take data that can be sent back to us. So we don't know the telescope that is not, whose data is not accessible to us right now, the one that NASA control, is one that has a gigantic telescope that can take incredible resolution in terms of pixels are concerned. So far we don't know what happened. Some people in the lexicon, in the general public, are saying that they took a picture, they saw something, they don't want the rest of the public to know. I don't know that. All I know is that it's a high resolution camera, and they should be able to see, and given the fact that it was so close to the sun, they should be able to see, we should be able to get great details, pictures of that object. Now, any questions, any comments that you may have? I want to encourage you also to share with me if you have any insight, because the connection happened. Did you have any insight during the connection that you are able to share, that you have processed and you're able to share at the moment, as it relates to the connection that we made to 3i Atlas on that day?
And for me, no, not beyond what I expressed at the time. And thank you for explaining Avi Loeb's details of his report. I didn't understand it all, but I knew you would tell us, and I would understand it then.
Yeah, Avi Loeb is a great scientist, and he's being very honest and very public as an astrophysicist who's not working for an agency with a 3-letter acronym. He is more geared toward teaching, education, and open sharing. So, and he's very rigorous as a scientist, which means that he will tell you things as they are. And he's suspicious, again, saying that it appeared to be intelligent, or the laws of physics outside of our solar system operate completely differently. That's the only two conclusions you can come to. That for whatever reason, and again, he's the one. He published a white paper in which he's asking even the governments. The telescope that detected 3i Atlas is in Chile, but it's a telescope that was created by NASA and a consortium of all kind of Earth scientists to stream data back to us. Because I've been to, not to Chile, but I've been to New Zealand and to Australia. And when you're down under the Earth like this, you see a sky landscape that is, I cannot have word to describe it to you. It's the most extraordinary thing I've ever seen. Okay? Particularly when you're in the country or you're somewhere remote. We were in Ulu in the middle of the desert. What I saw was like, it was like magical. And so he's suggesting that governments around the world get, and if indeed this object is the indication that there is sentient life form outside of our solar system, which it sounds like it is, then we should put, and he was suggesting that we put another similar telescope in the North Pole as well, so that we can look for these anomalous objects and begin to prepare ourselves for an eventual time in which there would be open communication between us and some sort of extraterrestrial race. And he mentioned 7 laws of physics that actually this object broke. And I mentioned a few of them. I don't have to get into the details, but the last piece that I showed, that I posted on the WhatsApp group, is the result, the actual result, the confirmation from the European Space Agency around Mars, because it came in very reasonably close proximity of, I forgot how many thousand kilometers it was from Mars. But that camera doesn't have, the high resolution camera is actually the one that NASA controls. So hopefully when the government opens up, that stuff will be released, and we will be, he said internally they have the information already, because NASA is not completely funded by the government directly. So they have the result, but they need the other agencies to be, the Defense Department, the Homeland Security. They have to release, there's a protocol. There's all these things that needs to happen before they release this information to the public. So when all of that returns, we should be able to get the data out, and we will have more information about this this comet as it passes through. For me and my understanding, it's an alien probe. That's what I got from my connection to it, that it was coming from an intelligent race that is trying to figure out where the evolution and the growth that has been happening for the past millennia or so in our solar system, in that little corner of the Milky Way galaxy. It's just to check to see if there is anything there. And thus, it became important for us to connect to it as a collective in a group Merkabah, to demonstrate to them that there was intelligence and conscious, because everything is alive, everything is conscious. And if we connect to it, we are able to send a message to the celestial forces and the extraterrestrial forces that are controlling it, that we are evolving. And the fear we have, or at least I have, is that they will interpret the chaos that's happening on Earth right now as being the collective, they're seeing the lowest common denominator. They are not seeing the fact that we're making such great stride and effort to ascend and to elevate and to be at a level where we can openly have communication with the galactic family. So it was important that we made this connection, and we connected with humility to let them know that we are capable of this high, of an elevated state of consciousness. Any other questions or comments? Now, interestingly enough, when I started teaching that Melchizedek series now that I'm teaching now on Tuesday, I wanted the series of classes I'm teaching at this moment to be about group work. But I was completely unaware, this is what Lord Melchizedek was guiding me to do, I was completely unaware that an actual event was coming along after the second class, where we would have to demonstrate group work. And I want to go over, although I went through it with all of you, I want to go over exactly what we did to explain to you the details on how we communicate as a individually and as collectively to a gigantic collective of that nature. The first thing for us to understand is that if we're not neutral, we cannot communicate. If we have secret agenda, if we're trying to communicate because we're trying to weaponize these forces, or we are in fear because we think they're going to destroy us, we will not be able to contact them. We will not go in, they will not allow, because all energy, these forces, this is the thing I have, is that I hear a lot of people who are calling themselves ascended masters or teachers, and they are battling all the time. My experience is that once you pass the 5D, there is no battling. Because in order for you to enter 5D, you have to be in such a state of grace, in such a state of connected to your higher emotions and virtues, that you cannot be in that space and be battling. And so when I hear people talking about, if you see in all the movies that Hollywood are producing, all the contact with the alien, well, not all, I shouldn't say all, that's not true. There are some of them that are positive, but most of the time it's all these negative, like these warmongering, extremely technologically advanced races that are coming in to destroy, to take over, to kill, to think about Star Wars. Think about, all these other franchises. War. My personal experience with forces of that nature, extraterrestrial forces, is that they're extremely advanced and extremely benevolent. They are not seeking to dominate and take over. They are not trying to enslave us. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that at all. I'm not saying that there's not a small fraction of extraterrestrial that might be negative. I know that there is, but if you prepare yourself the right way and you're neutral, you should not come in contact with them. Because if you're neutral, you're zero charge. These forces are seeking people who are -5, +2, or whatever, that are charged for them to connect to. If you're zero charge, if they try to attack you, you become like smoke. They pass right through you. They will not be able to touch you. So that's the most important part, is that before the connection is made, every member of your core group that's going to do this has to become as neutral as they can. So being neutral is the key. Second, the day of the connection is for one person is going to lead. In this instance, it was me, and I channel the connection. I didn't know what I was going to say. I just knew that I just began to speak, and the energy flowed and it flowed, and I became wide. I became extremely wide, extremely thin, because I became the person holding the group Merkabah together. So since we were all practicing our torsion field over and over and over again for months and months now, I did a long prayer at the beginning. Then we did torsion field together. And what happened is that wherever you are around the planet, my torsion field overlap with your torsion field. I'm going to show you some graphic, and I'm going to speak because it will explain it better. Hold on a second. Okay. This is the inside of the torsion field. If you were inside of it, that's what you would see. I want you to notice the line or the filaments, what I call the filaments that are going around. So the torsion field is like a funnel. If you've ever seen a funnel, a water funnel going down, or a fire funnel, whichever the case may be, it's like a funnel. But it's a closed loop funnel where whatever energy comes from the top rotates and comes back and closes on itself and recirculate again. So there are these filaments that are moving about and that are rotating and coming back. And as these filaments are coming back over and over again, rotating and rotating, it should perpetually renew itself. It becomes perpetual motion. And the guardians are coming in, creating these torsion fields. The first one counter-rotating, so it's not just steady like the picture, but it's, imagine it counter-rotating around you, and the center of that funnel is in your core, on the top from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And it's creating the torsion field around you. So when first guardian comes in, creating a torsion field, counter-rotating, coming from the core of the earth, passing through the bottom of your feet, rising, exiting at the top of the fourth dimensional body, and creating all around you. And at this point, the filament extends, creating all around you, 360 degrees all around you, a torsion field of light and neutrality. The loops are returning back into, it's like the snake swallowing its own tail. Each filament is closed. And then at this point, we all usually repeat deep and profound reverence for the gift received, because that guardian is projecting that torsion field that's now inserted or merged with you is a projection of the neutrality that he knows in 4D. He projected it into you as a gift of an act of generosity, an act of kindness. It was projected for you to be shifted into remembering something else. How to be neutral. Of course, the axis, after a while, and the other thing I want to mention as well, although we see one guardian, the first guardian comes in at the bottom of your feet, it's not just one being. It's at a minimum 12 of them. This is why when I do those connections to those forces, I have to have more than one person in. I can't do it alone. And each filament, if you sit in the first torsion field, it doesn't matter, second or the 12th one, it doesn't matter. When you sit in it, if you sit in it long enough, you will begin to notice the location of the filaments. And not only you begin to look at the location of the filaments, each filament is the antakarana or the rainbow bridge of one of the 12 in 4D that are projecting together their peace and their serenity into you and their neutrality into you. The same way we connected to the 3 Atlas collectively, and we projected and merged with it, it's the exact same thing that they are doing, but they are doing it in reverse to us. Any questions, any comments about this? Okay, we can always go back. Let me continue. Now, what happened is that once the torsion field is created all around us, we will begin to merge with each other. My torsion field will link to your torsion field, and the next person's torsion field, and the next person, and so on and so forth, until it creates a collective Merkabah. By the way, the torsion field technology is Ezekiel's chariot, as mentioned in the Bible. It's Ezekiel chariots. Let me share with you another visual to remind you what that is, how we merge with each other. Oops, sorry, I need to go back. So you see your core you're standing in, all the filament, this is, let's say, my torsion field, and the next person next to me, their torsion field. And therefore, when my heart is open and in a neutrality, and they're in neutrality, our torsion field will sync with each other. We overlap, we merge. And when that merger continue, I want to remind you, if you all remember, when we did the fire ceremony many moons ago, upstate New York, we had done the Wisdom of the Mighty I Am Presence for over a year to prepare for the fire ceremony. And then when we did it, we all stood around the fire, and I was guiding everyone on the doing and the repetition. It took about 2 hours. It was quite arduous to get into the groove of this, because it felt we were doing something that was complicated, but yet at the same time not complicated. And I want you to understand that as I stand, if it was me standing there, the next torsion field would rotate the opposite direction and would be on top of the first one. And yours would be, if it was, let's say, Janice that was next to me, hers would be, and if it was Esther on this side, overlap. And so we were around the fire, making a circle, right? So by the time we were all done, each one of us had an antakarana or filament that moved from the core of the earth and went all the way back into God. Each one of us. But because of the group intention we were doing, my filament would then go from instead of merge, instead of being just in me, I would now project it in the center where the fire was in front of us. Instead of being underneath my feet, it got projected into the center of the fire. And the next person next to me, the next person. And before you know it, all of the antakaranas were in the center of the fire. And when that happened, a collective intention and desire became so potent and so powerful. And what we were asking is for the light of God to ground in the mountains at the time. And as we did this, what happened? We were finishing the ceremony, and all of us were actually split. I was exhausted. I was tired. But since we had made an appointment to go into town to eat, I remember we were half hour late. I'm like, the chef cooked in that small restaurant 5 minutes away. I have to go. And I think maybe 3 calls of people went down. The rest of you stayed. And I drove down. We barely ate. We were there for no more than an hour. We just touched the food because none of us were really physically hungry. And on the way back, we saw the light, the ET lights. Because what happened? Because we came from a place of heart and it was so sincere that the celestial forces of the Guardian Alliance of Light came and responded physically to us. As I turned from the parking where we were and turned around the corner, the moment I turned, I saw these lights. And I thought, I got very confused because it was so physical right in front of us. About 250 feet or so, I saw what looked like stadium light that you would have in a stadium, like in a row, like 7 or 8 lights. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a small village of about 250 people. They have 3 street lights. Where did somebody put a new stadium light? What? And I said to Celia, I was next to me, do you see this? And the people that behind the car, I think Ursula, Marjorie, people went back. They were like, yeah, 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 we're seeing it, we're seeing it. And we drove past it because it was steady. As we went down the S's of the mountain, going up the hill, the next thing you know, it's in front of us again. And it happened 3 times. They came. And that light was on top of that location for almost 2 years. Every time I went to the house, I would look where the fire pit was, and I would take a binoculars and look, you would see the lights. So the work, any question, any comments about this? You were all there. You may have had different experiences because some of you did not go to town with me. At the time, you did not see the lights, but you had other different experiences in the house. At the time of the and I'm sharing this with you because when we have to go to the galactic equator crossing, this is the kind of experiences we're going to have to create to become the doorway and the opening through which light can be transmitted to Earth to open the doorway, because there is a network of portal and gates from the planetary level into the solar, from the solar into the galactic, from the galactic into multi-universal, universal for the universal to multi-universal to the cosmic, all the way back to God. But the connection to Earth is broken. And you and I are responding to a clarion call we heard long ago to be here and to help create the structure and the armature, like Lord Melchizedek said in that channeling in 2010. To become the architect and the engineer, because you are the very beam and structure that will have to bore this opening into the heaven. And literally through the torsion field technology, create this opening. Now, before this event with 3i Atlas, I didn't know that we would be capable of making that kind of connection. I had done it for forces on Earth, and in my consciousness, that's where I was. But necessity is the mother of invention because of the need to connect. Because I had done the channeling to say that this event was going to occur and we needed to step up in spiritual rectitude and verticality. I knew I had to do it. And more importantly, I knew that we had already done it. And all we had to do is remember what we did when we did it already, because there's no time and space. So I created the event as a way for us to connect, to figure out, to let, since this is a probe, let the galactic elders know there are people who are working on the ascension and who are ready when the time comes to anchor the proper light to allow humanity to make a different choice. God is not going to tell us, not going to force us to make a choice we don't want to make, but at least the doorway will be open, the frequency will be released in the earth. And the way this is going to happen is very specific. I'm using the example of the fire ceremony as a very localized experience we all had together to kind of like guide us into the expansion in energy that we felt when we did this. And the result, which was the light that came in, the extraterrestrial light, I wanted also to explain to you that the extraterrestrial beings, the way it's going to work, we are not, all the students who I'm working with are not all in one location. I have people as far as Japan, Australia, Europe, California, that we're all over the world. And all of us will find ourselves posted in very specific cities or that are in proximity of very specific earth chakra location. And wherever you are, as you do your work of elevating and liberating yourself and ascending and all that, you are gonna ascend, but your energy is gonna be linked directly to the earth chakra that's closest to you. And you and your fellow ascended being are gonna make the chakra ready. Where's the book? Here it is. What did I do with it? Oh, there it is. Robert Kuhn, in his book Earth Chakra, I think most of you have it, wrote about the earth chakras. There are 12 principal gates or earth chakras. Because the earth is so much bigger than us, it doesn't have just 7 chakras. There are 12 principal gates as chakras, and there is 144 minor chakras. And the first 12 gates, I will read you the location where they are. They are all, and before I do this, let me explain to you how this is geopathic work. It's earth work. We are supporting Gaia and helping Gaia ascend and helping everybody in the chakra location to elevate and open if they desire to move into it. Let me explain to you how it's done. Each earth chakra, okay, before we go into this, let me explain the idea of the precession to you. The earth north to south pole is tilted, geographically tilted 23 degrees to the side, almost like a spinning top that's beginning to lose its rotation. And because of this, that axis, if Earth is in the center and all the 12 zodiac signs are around us, that axis take 2,200 years to travel to each sign of the zodiac. And each sign of the zodiac, that period of time, is called an age or an eon. We left the Piscean age and we move now into, we're now into the Aquarian age. Before the Piscean age was the Aries age. This is why when Moses was the avatar, every age has a world teacher or an avatar. When Moses was the world teacher at the time, the symbol for it was a ram's horn, the shofar that Jewish people use during Rosh Hashanah. During the Piscean age, the symbol that Christ used was the fish. The Aquarian age is the only age in which there will be not just one world teacher. We are all called, which is the age we're in now, to all become God and goddesses. We all will have the opportunity to ascend. Now, having said this, every time an age ends, like Piscean age ended, the Aquarian age was about to begin, all the chakra, because every age has a theme for growth. Like during the age of the Piscean age is all love thy neighbor as thyself. The Aquarian age, different theme. There's a different theme for growth and evolution at every age. And when that happens for a period of 150 years, when the new chakra, the new age begins, all of the 156 chakra on Earth will shut down, will diminish, and then they will reopen again at very specific astrological time. They will reopen again to be rededicated to the new age. The message, for example, the age of Aquarius is the age of brotherly love. They will reopen again. And not all of 156 chakras have been reopened yet. We're still going through them. We did a WESOC in a local chakra around New York is in Niagara Falls. And we did an opening, we did a ceremony there when the chakra was being opened, reopened, which is chakra 15. Any question? I've said a lot. Any questions, any comments about any of this?
Pierre, would you repeat why the chakras close down and reopen?
Because the theme for each age is different. For example, the theme for growth in the Piscean age is very different than the theme for growth in the Aquarian age.
Right. But that causes the chakra to close when it changes?
It closes the energy because it's an end to an age.
I see.
It's the end to an age. It shuts down the energy slightly, and it has to be, the prana seed has to be reinvigorated with something else, with a new theme.
Is that a
Now,
process that takes a long time,
it
or
doesn't take a long time, or it depends. If the volunteers in the chakra location are doing the work of being neutral and supporting it, it will happen very quite quickly.
uh-huh. Because that could be devastating to have your chakra system shut down, couldn't it? I mean, as a person, I could think of it as being detrimental, but to the earth as well.
Right. As a person, it could be detrimental, but there are lots of people around wobbling around which one or two chakras that are shut down.
That's true.
But this is the truth. I
Yeah.
see it as in my client all the time.
Okay.
Okay. So the what happened is that this is why we did the ceremony when we went to Niagara Falls.
Hmm.
It's to be able to support the chakra, to say we're here, we are your volunteer, we are your army, we're going to help support you. And each chakra have their own theme. For example, chakra in New York, it's the theme of creating an ideal community. Each chakra has a different theme. I'm going to read you the list of the first 12 chakras. Um, uh, Hailakala crater in Hawaii. It's the World Fire Elemental Vortex. Mustache, California, is Chakra 1. El Tule, Palenque in Mexico. Inner Balance and Androgyny Center. Lake Titicaca in Peru / Bolivia, the middle of the lake. There's an island of the sun that's there. It's Chakra 2. It's the fertility chakra of the earth. Glastonbury in England, Chakra 4. That's the heart center chakra, and it's also conjunct with the fourth chakra of the earth at this moment. By the way, the heart center chakra of the earth is mobile. It moves. It moves. Every 2,000 years, it moves 112 in a counterclockwise direction. Table Mountain Top in South Africa. It's the earth element vortex chakra. The Great Pyramid, Mount Olive in Mount Sinai in the Middle East. It's chakra number 5 and world air vortex element chakra. Mount Kailas in Tibet, which is where Misak Valley is. is chakra 7. It's the crown chakra of the planet. Bali, Indonesia, Tirta Ampul. I've been to that location. It's the World Purification Center. Then there is Uluru, which is the Great Red Rock. That's the center of the desert in Australia. I've been there as well. That's chakra number 3. That's the solar plexus of the planet. That chakra, well, let's put it this way. It's a big giant rock. The earth has an out-heel belly button. Mount Fuji in Japan, that's the Immortality and Beauty Center. This is where Yumiko lives in Japan. That's the chakra she's connected to. Lake Rotopunamu in New Zealand. It's the water vortex element chakra. And in Sergei Posad, which is the World Synthesis Center, and that's in Moscow, in Russia. So those are the 12 main gates. Of course, there are other gates, including ours, but it's 156 location. So if there is a minimum of 12 people at every chakra that's supporting the growth and understanding the kind of earthwork that needs to be done. In other words, each chakra has a different intention. Like one is a solar plexus, it's a will center of the earth. The other one is a fertility chakra. The other one is sexual chakra. The other one is whatever the chakra may be, earth element, water element, fire elements. However the chakra is, you will notice that in your design, for example, I'm going to give you an example. Western New York, which is where the earth, local chakra is, has had the most revivalist movement than anywhere else in the U.S. And that entire area, and it goes all the way into Pennsylvania, is called the Burnt Over District, as in burnt over by the Holy Spirit. There has been, for example, the Mormon Church, John Smith, was created in that area. The Lilydale. There are multiple individuals who have attempted to create an ideal community. All of them were imperfect in their execution because human beings got involved in kind of like the transmission. They didn't have all the balls. The transmission got a little bit muddy, but the attempts have been there steadily. Okay? And so one has to ask what came first, the chicken or the egg? Is the chakra influencing the people in the area to do this? Or is it us that are influencing the chakra? But there's a symbiosis that is established between you when you live around a chakra system. Of course, Japan is the Immortality Center. In Mount Fuji is an Immortality Center. What happened? The Japanese, or the group of people that live the longest on Earth. Question?
Yeah, just a thought, if I may, if I'm not interrupting. I was born near the Niagara Falls chakra, right? 60 miles or so, more or less. Do you retain the birth chakra even if you move away in some deeper connection if you're no longer near it? And is there some part of your intention in incarnating in that location to support that chakra, perhaps even healing one way or the other, or vice versa, of the chakra for you? Is any of that possible?
Yes. Yes. I know, for example, I know this, for example, Donna Davis, our dear friend, she was born in Buffalo. She's living in South Florida right now. You can move away, but I think there's a connection to that chakra location that you can never extricate from yourself. Let me put it to you differently. When I was in Australia, I experienced, when we went to Uluru, we spoke with several native Australians. and one of them was a shaman, and he explained to us some of the myth. The native Australians have a very different way of seeing the world. They believe that the entire world, the whole planet, was creating in what they call dream times, meaning that their ancestors dreamed of the land, and through their dream, they created it. In fact, the word dream and creation is the same thing in their language. Okay? And the reason I'm saying this is that there are multiple tribes. The geography, this is a vast place. The geography is very different. Where we were was arid desert, big red dirt and red rock and everything else. There is another part, Queensland, for example, that's dense rainforest. Yet the tribes would never intend, they would have conflict, but they would never try to invade someone else's territory because it's better real estate. For the simple reason that they believe very much like a tree that grows from the ground up. We as human beings, wherever you're born, you are connected to it in a deep spiritual sense. And you can never outgrow it. You may travel other places, but you're always connected to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? This is their belief. And he explained to us how they had conflict. When they had conflict, the tribes, they would actually create two lines, and they would have all their weapons out, and their boomerang and their spears and whatever. And then there would be somebody say, go, and then almost like a duel, and then they would shoot at each other. Whoever fell down got killed, dead, but that's what was supposed to happen. And then the conflict is ended. Everybody go back to their corner. Because they were not trying to invade another territory. This is something in their way of thinking that's so weird and corrupt that they would never think of it. They actually also believe that wherever you were born, the earth will give you the substance that you need wherever that location is for you to survive. So if I was born in the desert, I don't need to travel. I can travel to the rainforest and visit and all that, but I don't need to invade that place and try to claim territory and say this is where I need to exist. I don't completely agree with this for the simple reason that we often renegotiate our contract as we grow from a spiritual standpoint. Like, for example, Dr. Stone had said multiple times that twice in his lifetime, he moved so quickly to his karma that when he was complete, the spiritual hierarchy asked him to do something else. So it could be that you're asked to move to a different location to support, let's say there is a lag in understanding technology, teaching, etc. at a different type of location. Spirit may ask you to move in that location. Now, let me be very clear. The Niagara Falls chakra extend 777 miles wide. This is true of all the chakras, except for the three elemental chakras, which extend 1,777 miles wide. They are so big and so immense. Imagine that from Niagara Falls, it extends all the way to Washington, D.C. So it takes in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio. It goes deep into Canada. Toronto, Montreal. It takes a whole bunch of territory. Now, since I'm using that analogy, I should mention as well that let's say the chakra 15 is ready. We've done all the work. We're ready. And which means what? When we are connected to the chakra and doing the work correctly, our collective Merkabah, all the 12 people, minimum 12, it could be more, all the collective work that we're doing together in that chakra will extend 777 miles wide in a normal thing. Now, when a chakra is newly reopened, the initial reopening will extend maybe 37 miles. Okay? Then it will extend maybe 57 miles. As the volunteer in that location or working with the earth chakra, because if you remember, the torsion field comes in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through you, and then clockwise, passing the other way, going into the core of the earth. As you're doing this work 3 times a day, you're making the chakra ready. You're not consciously doing this, but that's what you're doing. You're doing geopathic work. And as you do this, there will come a point where you will help support the chakra, because we are the grounding rod to allow the chakra, with the intention of, this is the age of brotherly love. We're all supposed to ascend. Let's move into the new earth. Let's create the conditions so that the gates will be open. And as we do this, it's going to happen. It eventually will come to a point where it will happen. And to explain this simply, if the chakra, Niagara Falls being in the center, if the chakra is ready, 777 mile wide, then the fact that one chakra is ready, it's going to encourage the people in the chakra north of that in Canada, or south of that, or east of that, or west of that, to also be them work on getting themselves prepared and ready. And when the other chakras will be ready, let's say north of us, center to center, as we saw in the example of the man and the woman in the torsion field, they will overlap each other. Center to center, overlap. Then the bottom, then the side, then the top. And when all of it is done, the entire planet geometry will radiate as the living flower of life. This is where we're headed. So the circle that's here, above it, there's another circle around another chakra. Then there is the other chakra that are here. There's another one that's here, and there's another one below. And all of it overlap each other, and it creates an intricate net around the earth, where 156 location will be a center that will attract and ground into Gaia and going directly into the very heart of God. And when that happens, the prana seed, this is at the, hopefully it will be sequenced to happen around the time of the galactic equator crossing. And when that occurs, it will allow for light from the earth and the celestial realm to equally balance each other and bypass each other, and creating an alchemical marriage. And therefore, the gates and the openings around the earth will open up 156 gates that will allow whomever is ready to find an opening through which they can travel and go into the new earth. Think of these locations and the work that we're doing as being dimensional portal. That's what we're working on, becoming dimensional travel agent. We're creating portals through which not only we can travel, but more importantly, we're going to create an opening through which light can descend and ascend through it. If you all remember, there was, of course, at the house upstate, there was on there was a portal there, and what happened? Many times when we were there, we were sitting down, we would hear a call coming into the driveway, park, door slam, and when we look out the window, no one is there. No one visibly that we can see, but we heard it. All of us had experienced this. There is a dimensional doorway or portal because of the work we did with the fire ceremony that's in that location.
Question, Pierre?
Yes.
Are in whatever 3 years or so time when the galactic equator crossing happens and we have the opportunity to move into the new Earth, I guess at that time, is that going to require that these chakra centers, 156 centers around the Earth as well, be all ready to do the same? In other words, we cannot ascend unless they are ready to go. Oh, I've said that wrong. We can't move to the new Earth until the Earth chakras are ready to do the same.
There is no difference between us and the Earth chakra at that point because we will have merged with them.
But do all of them need to be in that state of readiness? For instance, if the Niagara Falls chakra is ready to go, but some other chakra is not?
Uh,
But
if we will need, I don't know how to answer this. I haven't thought about this. I don't know how to answer this. I I, I can place something in there which is a guess on my part, but I've never channeled this.
hmm,
Okay. Uh, uh, what I can tell you is that I think by the fact that once a couple or more chakras are ready, it will begin to quicken the
hmm,
evolutionary growth of the other chakras.
hmm. So the tipping point that
Yes, yes, yeah.
if you
There's gonna be like a yes, there's gonna be like a point where enough chakras will have moved, all the other chakras will move quicker. Everything will move quicker.
okay, I got it.
You see what I'm saying? It will accelerate it, will move it quicker. And
Hmm.
and the other chakras are gonna become ready. It's geopathic work. It's deep spiritual work, it's ascension, but it's also geopathic work. Now, I have to tell you that this opportunity of connecting the three atlas did me an immense favor because it stopped me from connecting, although I'm making a great effort not to connect to the chaos that the wannabe despots are creating on earth at this moment. But you can't exist in a vacuum. You're going to see it. It's in mass media. A friend tells you, somebody else mentioned it. It's gonna be around you. So I have to thank that connection because it allowed me the opportunity to remember what it is like to be in that state of grace where you're connected to something that's much higher than the chaos that is intentionally being created as a distraction to keep us from doing this work because it is intentional. Any other questions or comments?
I guess maybe sorry, I guess I do maybe have another question. Can we connect to other centers, other
Yes,
chakras that maybe need help more.
yes.
And if some of them are even under the oceans, former continents or whatever, do they need some support, much like we connected with the storm systems or with MI Atlas? Is there something of that nature that we should consider?
So when you're doing geopathic work, one of the things you need to do is that if, let's say, for example, when I went to Ulu and to Tirta Ampul in Bali and then to Rotopunamo, one of the things that you do is that you do an exchange of something from where you live. For example, wherever you live, you take a rock. If you don't have, you're living in an apartment building, you go to, for example, in Central Park or some park in your area, take a rock, and when you go there, you exchange. You put a rock, you give an offering of a rock of the location where you are, and then you take a piece of rock from that location, that chakra location, you return it back with it. The only place I don't recommend you do this, it's in the chakra, the earth, the fire chakra location, which is the volcano of Haleakala in Hawaii, because there are some other energies there that are very strong, and all the shaman, the kahunas, and the people, they said if you take any rock from that volcano, doesn't matter what you do with it, and you bring it back with you, you will have to come back and return it because it's going to haunt you and cause all kind of chaos in your life.
Hmm.
It has happened to too many people before. And
Hmm.
and as a matter of fact, when I went to Tirta Ampul, to give you an example, Tirta Ampul is the kidneys of the earth. There is a spring that has been holy to the local shaman before, because that entire area is Hindu. The rest of the country is Muslim, but that entire island is mostly Hindu. And 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 the people in Bali pray all the time, offering, and they're deeply, deeply religious. Every house every morning has a small tray of flowers and rice that they do offering. They pray they spend 25% of their time praying without consciously knowing it through their incessant prayer. They're filtering fear and evil out of the planet. That location where that holy spring is extremely important in that filtration system. It's two pools separated by a bridge in an outdoor temple, and I gone there and I bathed in. There are 23 spigots from the spring where water jets out. I went under each one of them, prayed, and I prayed for my work and prayed for my past work, my future work, for all my students and my clients. I prayed and I took water from there. When I went to Niagara Falls, I pour some of the water into the Niagara Falls as an exchange to cleanse and purify Niagara Falls. I don't have to, you go around there, I don't have to tell you about the Love Canal and the toxic dumps that have been connected to toxify that what should be a beautiful place. And that's the problem with that chakra. It's not just you, Janice, and your land and your ancestors and as farmers in that location, but that entire chakra has a lot of toxic thing that it's radiating out as well.
Yeah, a lot of illness, a lot of cancer in that area.
Yes, 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 because of 3 Mile Island was the first super site ever dedicated by the federal government because of the amount of toxicity. Children will play in the ground because they build a development right on top where the corporation buried barrels and barrels of toxic chemicals.
Yeah.
People would roll in the ground and then their skin would be left on the floor. And even today, when I was there, I was in shock. There was a corded area where there were trucks that were picking up stuff and etc. There was a cyclone fence, and then there was a canal, and right across from it, there were people with their boats that were docked. There was like an ideal, like a beautiful community. I'm like, I would never swim in that water. I would never go out. This stuff is right across the street. You mean the chemical cannot travel from where it is to where I am? It's not even 100 feet.
And I'm sure it traveled much further than 100 feet.
Absolutely. And I have to tell you, when we were there, I'm going to give you an example. We were there together. We were on the street outside where the fence is. All of a sudden, Ursula began to break up in hives. We
Mm,
had to drive very quickly away from that location. She was, her skin was exploding out.
mm. I remember, of course, that would be near the Lake Ontario that feeds into Lake Erie. In my youth, Lake Erie was dead.
Mm.
The fish, the seaweed, all just dead on the shore, washed up. There was no life in the whole lake. They cleaned it up, but I think it's all connected.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that you're right, their chakras are lagging behind for those reasons. Men with disconnected their heart have done some horrible things to greed.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I took the water from basically, I'm asking the kidneys of the planet to help clean. That was my intention on dropping the water from Theater Ampoule into the top of the fall in the American side. Any other questions or comments? All right. And for those of you who've never been to Niagara Falls, if you're going from the American side and you're driving through, before you get to the fall, as you're passing an industrial park, you can smell the methane and the gas and the toxic stuff as you're passing. You have to roll down your car because the smell of sulfur will suffocate you. Any other questions or comments? All right, let's take a 5 minute break and then we'll do the closing meditation. 5 minutes. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. And notice what you noticed. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. We call upon God, the God force, Christ and the Holy Spirit. We call forth the silent watchers of the cosmos, the cosmic council of 12, the extraterrestrial guardian alliance of light, the 24 elders that surround the throne of grace, the order of Melchizedek, the order of Enoch, the order of Michael, the order of the golden robe, the order of the platinum robe, the order of Shambhala. We call forth the Universal Federation of Light, the Galactic Regent Council, the Galactic Mathematician, the Galactic Confederation of Planets. We call forth all extraterrestrial races of the light of God, the Larian Whites, and all the Larian ascended from the Lyra constellation, the Arcturians. We call forth all ascended insectoids, aquatic, energetics, crystalline, Saurian, Andromedan, Pegasus, and all advanced celestial races. And we ask them for forgiveness and mercy. We call forth Helios and Vesta, or solar logos, and we call forth the following planetary masters: Alagobi, El Moria, Kuthumi, Serapis Bey, Paul the Venetian, Hilarion, Shananda, Rakosi, Saint Germain, Master Dwakul, Lord Krishna and the six Buddhas of activity, Lord Maitreya, Lord Krishna, Yogananda Babaji. We call forth the following female masters: Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Lashmi, Tasatahoma, Lady Nada, Lady Elena, Lady Liberty, Lady of the Sun, Lady of the Light, Pallas Athena, Lady Vesta, Lady Karashu, the White Tara, Goddess Isis. We call forth Goddess Lalita, the Mother of Gods. And we ask all of the female masters for their mercy, their grace, their compassion, to enlighten our heart and project into us a more interdependent and grounding way to walk the earth with more kindness. I call forth the Elohim Council of the Light of God, and I call forth the following archangel: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Camuel, Jophiel, Zachariel, Uriel, Archangel Sonalphon, and Archangel Metatron. I call forth Lady Gaia, Planet Earth, All Earth, Elohim, Master Devas, Sub Devas, General Devas, Pam, Nature Spirits, Gnome, Sylph, Undime, Salamanders, Elf, Fairies, Nymphs, and Dolphins and Whales. I ask the entire planetary, solar, galactic, intergalactic, universal, multi-universal, and cosmic hierarchies for their mercy and their grace in guiding us as elder races to younger races. We ask for their mentorship, their kindness, their love, their support. In demonstrating to us the path of neutrality, the path of ascendance, and the path of service. Help us remember the oath that we took long ago to help support the Earth, Gaia's bioregenesis, and more importantly, the Earth chakra locations repair and corrections that are needed for us to be good shepherd and an aligned planetary leader. From the core of the earth into the throne room of God. May your mercy, your guidance, your mentorship illumine our path that we may move to our challenges with greater ease. We beseech you for your support, for your love, and for keeping your eyes fixed on us. Be our witness. May an endless cascade of love, benevolence, kindness, and positive mutation fall upon us, that we may be transformed into the being and the celestial anchor we sign up to be. May the peace, the serenity, the liberation, and the neutrality that we know be released into the earth chakra location in our proximity. And make the chakra ready. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep breath, and whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre. That was beautiful. Very deep. I didn't expect that. It's a
Mm,
beautiful experience.
beautiful. Beautiful. I appreciate it. I want to thank all of you for listening to us tonight. On YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like this video. On Patreon, thank you for your patronage and for your support. Sending you my deepest love, and I'll talk to you next week. Blessings, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Love you all.